Up first this morning is going to be Noah Levin, who is our VP of Design at Figma. He's going to be diving a little bit deeper into how we are thinking about bringing AI to the Figma platform. So let's give it up for Noah.
Hi. This is really cool. It's good to see you all. So I'm so excited to be here to talk about AI today. It's a pretty huge topic, and I only have about 10 minutes, so I'm just going to try to cover two things. What might AI mean for our industry, and how are we thinking about it at Figma? So let's get into it. Two grounding assumptions to start. The first is a pretty everlasting definition of design. Design is solving problems for people. It's not just pushing pixels. It's more than what we do with our hands. It's also what we do with our minds. And the second is a belief that design has always evolved with technology. It's there to help and assist and support. It doesn't replace the need for thoughtful design. And AI is not the first time we've experienced a major shift in the way we design. Writing used to involve hand-drawing every single letter, but after the printing press, we have machines churning them out at scale, but we remained intentional about typography, how people navigate a page, and the experience of content. Still, we design. We used to have rooms of animators draw by frame, and today, computers can compose a scene without this, but we still have creatives that dream about how to make stories compelling. The same is true for digital photography, which has pushed the boundaries of what we ever thought would be possible to do relative to the first cameras. And still, we design. In the last 10 years, even, many shifts have challenged the way we work, from desktop to mobile, single player to multiplayer, a shift to remote and hybrid work. And again, we adapt, we learn, and now with AI, still, we design. And to be clear, this doesn't mean that things don't look different. Let's be honest, it's very possible our jobs could change, our environments could change, the way we work. And we can't entirely control or predict the future, but we can control how we respond and work with this change. And I don't know about you, but I prefer to be curious, optimistic, ask tough questions, discover how our world may change, and be a part of this conversation. So let's chat about how they might look different through three lenses: what we design, how we design, and who designs. Put another way, product, process, and people. The software we build may change alongside new ways of interacting with technology. And here I think it's possible we'll shift from an app-centric world where we're opening big monolithic containers and clicking around to express our intents, to more dynamic task-based computing. Emerging tech like ChatGPT might move us away from websites and apps back to what we've been doing since the dawn of Google, typing in questions and getting answers. AI might simplify the need for more complex interfaces and stay more focused on the core jobs to be done, whether that's booking a flight, planning a trip, ordering dinner. This is an exciting shift because it reimagines experiences that will help people act in the world. After all, software has always been a bridge behind our intentions and our actions. And whether it's Figma itself helping you bring your ideas to life or any of these other examples, it's important to remember the goals of our software as the through line here, accomplishing the task you had at hand. And so I don't know exactly what this will look like or how long it may take, but we can start by thinking about our intentions and actions instead of apps and websites, and consider new ways of obscuring complexity, even if gradually. And no matter what our tools look like to shape this, or the software of the future, whatever it looks like, I'd argue there's a constant here in how we work, which is we need a place to visually compare the output of these creations collaboratively, apply our taste and knowledge, and make decisions together to create great experiences. So let's go deeper into how we design. So I want to leverage some language here popularized by Brad Frost's atomic design. A lot of our work today, even when we have sophisticated systems, feels at the atom level, small, rigid elements individually manipulated. But instead, AI can help us explore bigger patterns, freeing us up to consider the core flows of our experiences. So what might this look like? Well, again, today our work sometimes looks a lot like this. Obviously, we do a lot more than this, but all too often we get kind of stuck just trying to kind of tune and perfect just the right thing. Uh, very familiar to all of you, I'm sure. And so again, instead, we might want to think about how do we move from atoms, these small nudges, more to patterns, which in turn helps us focus on what's most important, the end experience we're trying to create. So instead of nudging that login screen around, what if AI could help us leverage our design system and the broader ones of the operating system and take care of a lot of that monotonous work, which again up-levels us to think more about flows instead of buttons. So I think we'll spend less time wrestling with rectangles and more time curating and applying strategy and taste to our work. And it turns out this isn't new. Design systems have already been preparing us for this adjustment. We used to spend too much time debating small decisions, and these decisions were sometimes important, to be clear, but the tools made them seem even more important, often because it just took so long to make them work. And so to think about how to adapt, and I bet you'll hear more about this all throughout the day, we should continue leaning on tools that help us focus on the important parts of our work, the problems we're trying to solve. So finally, who designs? Here, we'll see a shift from cross-functional stakeholders who work adjacent to us to design partners, where people may feel more free to participate visually, and existing designers will be able to create even more ambitious experiences than before. So let's visualize this for a second. You can think of the total space of design like this. We have a ceiling, the limits of how good you can be at designing, constrained by the power of today's design tools. Most of us in this room are probably here today, and there's also this hard floor in which it's difficult for non-designers to break through and meaningfully participate in visual collaboration. And I think AI will both raise the ceiling, unleashing new heights, more creative outputs, more amazing products, but it will also lower the floor, making it easier to design and allowing anyone to collaborate visually. And this is a shift we're pretty familiar with at Figma. People were really skeptical if this was a good idea at first, collaborating in a multiplayer way on the web, but I'd argue it's been a more fruitful way of working. And so the end result here is a shared space. And in this space, we all become thinkers and builders together, and we can think less of our titles and just feel more connected that we're all just makers, focusing less on who did what and more on the shared goals of our work. And so how do we adapt to this? Well, I think we embrace this collaboration. We focus on our shared goals, the problems we're trying to solve. We lower our egos and recognize that great ideas can really come from anywhere. So now that we've gotten a bit philosophical, let's ground it in how we're currently thinking about AI at Figma. There are a lot of companies that I think are maybe more engineering-centered, like Google, or more marketing or design-centered, like Apple. And I believe I was thinking about what's Figma's version of this? What's our DNA? And I think Figma has always been a community-centered company. It's the biggest driver behind what we do and why we're all here today. And all of you in this room have undoubtedly played a role in shaping this product, this company, the industry. And to respect that, when we approach new products, we want to build something that serves your needs. And what's fun is you don't wait for us to do this. You carve your own paths. I've seen over 100 plugins in just the last few months with AI already. And it's just the early days. And one of the other things that we've been learning and researching and thinking more about this space is that AI is not a single feature. It's not a product. It's a technology. It's a platform. It's something that can assist you in your end-to-end design process. So let's look at that process. Much like what Dylan mentioned yesterday, let's imagine you're brainstorming, designing, building, and it turns out AI can assist you and get your job done in each of these phases. It doesn't do your job for you, it's just a tool. So what can it do? Let's start with brainstorming. Here, AI can help us collaborate, generate ideas, cluster them, organize, synthesize. And we've been working on a bunch of things here, and I'm just going to show you a peek of a few engineering demos for these use cases. Here you can imagine getting help thinking of an icebreaker for a team meeting, or organizing and clustering your ideas for you. These large language models are really good at this, right? Making sense of large sets of information. Or summarizing information from a big conversation that had so many inputs, right? And what those next steps might be. So what about designing? As Dylan alluded to yesterday, there's so much we can do here. It can allow us to get started faster, deepen possibilities in our explorations, allow us to put pieces together in more coherent and thoughtful flows. And so here's an example where AI can tap into the existing wealth of your design systems, what's on the screen and different pages, and surface component recommendations for you to build upon. And so in this example, it's digesting the screen and suggesting these album covers and filling in the content for you as well, saving you a lot of time and exploring these different patterns from things that might already be in your system. And as you start exploring, AI can help you stay in the flow. And I find a lot of times I forget to look for plugins that can help me. And so what if instead you prompt for something and we chain together different plugins that can help you? So here, pulling a color palette from an image, and then chaining it into showing a set of a style guide, a first draft of one at least. And nothing stifles your flow and imagination more than tedious tasks. And so here you can see AI helping with common actions. I feel like all of us have spent way too much time doing this. It's kind of neat to see it come together with our new prototyping previewer as well. And as you think about how designs translate across devices and regions, AI can give you a starting point to build upon. For example, you can prompt Figma to show designs across different device sizes, languages, themes, building upon all the things that you already saw yesterday with variables. And then there's the build process. And you heard a bunch about this yesterday with the announcement of dev mode. AI can help us contribute and understand how we move from a design into something real, whether that's through helping you in communication and handoff, working with developers with code, or as I've heard referred to as the holy grail, like matching components in code to components in Figma. And so let's take a look. With the new VS Code app, you can imagine how much more powerful it becomes with AI. For example, generating code based on selections in the file, or finding existing code references that are similar to the selection that you've made that already exists somewhere in your code base would be super helpful. Or updating small tweaks in the design based on things that you maybe modified in a Figma file and just getting a quick change to that right away. And again, these are just ideas, and we're super excited to dive deeper this year. And finally, there's this process by which we work together through these phases, this collaborative, iterative process. And along this entire journey, there's places in the process we can help people understand the context of a file, help communicate across our roles, and discover important work. And so in this prototype, imagine you've just come out of a crit or a product review, and there were hundreds and hundreds of comments. It happens all the time, and it's a little overwhelming, but AI can help summarize them, make it easier. Here, imagine you work at a large organization, right? There's hundreds of designers, tons of files. It can be hard to know where to look, how to find them. AI can help you find relevant files that are interesting to you, discussions you should be paying attention to, work across your organization you should care about. And this is just a peek at only a few of the things we started working on at Figma, and there's so much more we want to do here. I want to end on saying that everything I discussed today was not my idea. Nothing great is made alone. This was brought to you by real people, not AI. Though surely AI supported the process, and it made it easier. But we'd also like to hear from you. As I mentioned, Figma is a community-centered company. So we'd love to hear what you need, what problems you're facing, how AI can help you. And you can either tweet at us or find us in person. There's an amazing UX research booth over there. You should come talk to us. So what's next in this exciting space? Well, as Dylan announced yesterday, we have acquired Diagram. And I'm extremely excited about this. They have done so much incredible work, and I just can't wait to see what they do as a part of Figma. So now I'd like to welcome to the stage Jordan, Vincent, and Andrew from the Diagram team to share much more about what they've been up to.